The rain falls on the pavement, a relentless, gray static that washes away the distinction between the road and the gutter. Listen to it. It is a drone, a collective hum. It is the sound of the world moving in one direction, a river of millions flowing blindly toward a cliff edge they cannot see because they are too busy watching the back of the man in front of them. You are standing in the middle of this torrent. You feel the pressure against your chest, the weight of 1,000 bodies pushing you, urging you to step in line, to match their pace, to chant their slogans, to worship their idols. They call this harmony. They call this society. They call this the right way to live. But deep in your gut, where the iron of your spirit is beginning to rust from disuse, you know the truth. It is not harmony. It is a slow, suffocating death. You look around you. Look at the faces of the men who follow the current. Are they alive, truly alive, or are they merely animated by the expectations of others? Their eyes are glazed over, reflecting the blue light of screens that tell them what to fear, what to desire, what to hate. They dress the same. They speak the same hollow words, repeating phrases they did not invent, espousing opinions they did not earn. They are terrified of silence. They are terrified of the dark. But most of all, they are terrified of being different. To step out of line is to be seen, and to be seen is to be judged. So they march. They march toward debt. They march toward unfulfilling marriages. They march toward jobs that crush their spines and numb their minds. They march toward a grave that will have a generic inscription, forgotten before the grass has time to grow over the dirt. This is the tyranny of customary belief. It is the invisible cage. It is the rule that says you must lower your head when the Lord passes, even if the Lord is a fool. It is the whisper that says you must mortgage your freedom for a house you do not need, to impress neighbors you do not like. It is the lie that says safety is better than sovereignty. And today, we take a blade to that lie. Today, we look at the 15th precept of the Dokkodo, the final testament of Miyamoto Musashi, written in the damp, cold solitude of the Raigando cave weeks before his death. He wrote, "Do not act following customary beliefs." Read those words again. Let them settle like frost on your skin. Do not act following customary beliefs. This is not a suggestion to be quirky. It is not a call to be a contrarian for the sake of attention. That is just another form of vanity. No, this is a command for survival. It is a declaration of war against the herd mind. Musashi lived in an era of rigid structure. The Edo period was a time of suffocating rules. There was a way to dress, a way to speak, a way to eat, and a way to die. The samurai class was obsessed with appearance, with ritual, with the aesthetics of honor, rather than the reality of combat. They were peacocks with swords, pruning their feathers while their spirits softened. Musashi looked at this world, this theater of polite society, and he spat on the floor. He saw that customary beliefs were shackles. If everyone fights the same way, everyone dies the same way. If everyone thinks the same way, no one is actually thinking. To become the Kensei, the sword saint, he had to shatter the mold. He had to become a monster in the eyes of the polite. Think of his appearance. While other samurai were perfumed, their hair perfectly oiled, their kimonos crisp and clean, Musashi was a walking storm. He did not bathe for fear of being caught without his weapon. His hair was a matted mane. His clothes were ragged, stained with the road and the blood of previous lessons. He did not care for the custom of hygiene if it compromised his readiness for war. The custom said, "Look the part." Musashi said, "Be the weapon. Consider his style." The custom of the time dictated that a warrior wield the katana with 2 hands. It was the proper way. It was the way the masters taught. It was the way it had been done for centuries. To do otherwise was considered amateurish, weak, incorrect. Musashi looked at his hands. He saw he had 2 of them. He looked at his waist. He saw 2 swords, the long and the short. Why follow a custom that limits your capacity for violence? Why follow a rule that leaves one hand empty? He broke the most sacred custom of swordsmanship and created Niten Ichi Ryu, the style of 2 heavens as one. He wielded both. He turned the chaotic frenzy of battle into a rhythmic slaughter, spinning a web of steel that the single-sword traditionalists could not comprehend. They called him unorthodox. They called him a brute. But while they clung to their customs, he stood over their bodies. This is the price of rejecting the herd. You will be misunderstood. You will be mocked. You will be called strange, intense, aloof, perhaps even dangerous. Good. Let them talk. The sheep always bleat when the wolf walks by. They bleat because they sense something ancient and predatory, something that does not obey their social contract. When you stop acting according to customary beliefs, you become a mirror to the world. Your independence reflects their servitude. Your silence reflects their noise. Your discipline reflects their gluttony, and they will hate you for it. They will try to drag you back down into the mud, to make you dirty like them, so they do not have to feel the shame of their own filth. But you must be like the stone in the stream. The water rushes past, pushing, eroding, demanding movement. The stone remains. It alters the flow. The flow does not alter it. Think of the duel at Ganryujima, the most famous duel in history. Musashi against Sasaki Kojiro. Kojiro was the embodiment of customary belief. He was the perfect samurai. He was handsome. He was favored by the lords. He used a magnificent, long drying pole sword. He dressed in the finest silks. He followed the rules of engagement. The crowd loved him. He was the hero of the narrative. He was what society said a man should be. And what did Musashi do? He arrived late. A massive breach of custom. He arrived on a boat, looking disheveled. He did not even bring a real sword. He carved a bokken, a wooden sword, from an oar on the ride over. He looked like a madman. The crowd jeered. The officials were appalled. Kojiro was insulted. His rage spiked. He felt disrespected. How dare this vagabond mockery of a samurai treat the duel with such disdain? Kojiro drew his blade, threw his scabbard into the sea, a gesture of finality. Musashi smiled. "You have lost, Kojiro," he said. For what victor throws away his scabbard? Musashi did not fight the way he was supposed to. He did not fight with steel. He fought with psychology. He fought with timing. He jumped above the perfect, customary cut of Kojiro's blade and brought the wooden oar down on the man's skull. The perfect samurai died in the sand, his skull crushed by a piece of a boat, wielded by a man who refused to play the game. The custom is an illusion. The result is the only truth. Kojiro died with honor and the correct beliefs. Musashi lived with a headache and a victory. Which fate do you choose? Bring this to your life. Right now, the modern world is the new shogunate, and its customs are more insidious than ever. The custom says you must be constantly connected. You must respond to every message instantly. You must broadcast your life for validation. You must be outraged by the news of the day. You must consume comfort to numb your pain. The custom says that masculinity is toxic, that stoicism is emotional repression, that ambition is greed. The custom says you should be soft, pliable, a good consumer, a harmless citizen. If you follow these beliefs, you will end up like the millions of men you see walking with their shoulders slumped and their eyes dead. You will be anxious, because you are living a life designed by marketing algorithms, not by your own soul. You will be weak, because you have never tested your limits outside the safety net of society. You will be poor, not just in money, but in spirit, because you traded your potential for acceptance. To break free, you must accept the solitude of the Ronin. You must be willing to walk away from the warmth of the communal fire and into the cold dark of the woods. It is cold there. It is lonely. There is no one to pat you on the back. There is no one to tell you that you are doing a good job. There is only the wind, the rain, and the sound of your own breathing. But in that cold, you will find fire. In that silence, you will find a voice that has been drowned out for years, your own. This path requires a brutality of the mind. You must look at every habit you have and ask, is this mine, or was this given to me? Why do you eat what you eat? Is it fuel, or is it custom? Why do you watch what you watch? Is it learning, or is it pacification? Why do you work where you work? Is it your mission, or is it just what people with your degree are supposed to do? The answers will hurt. You will realize that 80% of your life is a performance, a script written by strangers. Burn the script. Musashi did not reach the state of the void by attending tea ceremonies and nodding politely at the lords. He reached it by starving in the mountains. He reached it by sitting in a cave, alone, facing the wall, facing his demons, until the demons bowed to him. He rejected the soft bed for the hard ground. He rejected the warm meal for the scavenged root. He rejected the customary belief that comfort is the goal of life. He understood that comfort is the enemy of greatness. You must become a ghost to their expectations. When they expect you to be angry, be silent. When they expect you to greedily chase the newest shiny object, be content with what you have. When they expect you to join the mob in their outrage, turn your back and sharpen your blade. You are not one of them. You are steel mind. You are the anomaly. You are the glitch in their system. This brings us to the forge. Philosophy without action is merely a daydream. You cannot just think about breaking custom. You must physically sever the ties. The neurological pathways in your brain are deep canyons, worn down by years of following the herd. To change the path of the river, you must use dynamite. We will not use explosives, but we will use something just as powerful. We will use the power of negation. For the next 7 days, you will enter the silence. This is not a request. This is a requirement if you wish to claim you understand this philosophy. The custom of the world is noise. The custom is constant input. For 7 days, you will cut the cord. No social media. None. Delete the apps. No news. No streaming. No podcasts. No music with lyrics. You will not consume the thoughts of others. You will not let the algorithm dictate your mood. When you wake up, you will not reach for the phone. You will stare at the ceiling and feel the weight of your own existence. When you drive, you will drive in silence. You will hear the engine. You will see the road. When you eat, you will eat alone, without a screen in front of your face. You will taste the food. When you are standing in line, you will not pull out your device to hide from the awkwardness of being human. You will stand there. You will look around. You will observe the herd. You will see them heads down, thumbs scrolling, minds plugged into the matrix, and you will feel a separation occur. At first, it will feel like anxiety. You will feel the fear of missing out. That is the withdrawal symptom of your addiction to customary belief. Let it burn. After 3 days, the anxiety will fade, and in its place, a clarity will begin to rise. A cold, sharp clarity. You will start to have original thoughts. You will remember dreams you had forgotten. You will see the world not as it is presented to you, but as it actually is. During this week, you will also break one social obligation. Just one. An event you don't want to go to. A favor you don't want to do. A conversation you don't want to have. You will say no. You will not offer an excuse. You will not apologize. You will simply say, "No, I will not be doing that." And then you will endure the silence that follows. You will watch their reaction. They will be confused. They will be offended. They will try to guilt you. Stand firm. Watch how fragile their control over you actually is. It snaps with a single word. This is how you sharpen the spirit. You strip away the layers of supposed to. You stop being a mirror for society, and you become a blade that cuts through it. Musashi walked the length of Japan, a solitary figure in a landscape of clans and armies. He did not belong to a clan. He did not lead an army. He was a universe unto himself. That is the goal: to be sovereign, to be complete, to need nothing from the outside world to validate your internal reality. When the week is over, do not go back to sleep. Do not plug yourself back into the matrix. You will see the customs for what they are: games for children, distractions for the weak. You will walk through the city, and you will see the flashing lights, the advertisements, the desperate clamor for attention, and you will feel nothing but a distant pity. You will be like the mountain that watches the clouds pass. The clouds are turbulent, changing shape, driven by the wind. The mountain is stone. It does not move. It does not change its shape because the wind blows. It defines the landscape. The path of the Dokkodo is not for the many. It is for the few. It is for the men who are willing to be called outcasts in exchange for being free. It is a lonely road. It is paved with the shards of your old self. It winds through the valley of shadows, where you must kill the boy who wanted to be liked, so the man who demands to be respected can be born. Do not act following customary beliefs. It sounds simple, but it is the hardest thing you will ever do. It requires you to trust your own judgment above the collective wisdom of billions. It requires you to believe that your inner compass is more accurate than the maps drawn by society. It requires arrogance, yes, but a tempered arrogance, an arrogance forged in the fire of discipline. The rain is still falling, the hum of the crowd is still there, but now perhaps you hear it differently. You hear it not as a song to join, but as a warning signal, a warning of where not to go. Turn your collar up against the cold, grip the handle of your resolve, turn away from the river of bodies, step into the fog. The unknown is terrifying to the sheep, but to the samurai, the unknown is the only place worth exploring. Because in the unknown, there are no customs, there are no beliefs, there is only the truth of steel and the will to wield it. Walk on, alone,